Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to That's Football, or should I say That's Racing, because tonight we are live for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix and it promises to be an absolute cracker. I nearly said Manchester United against Red Bull. It's Ferrari against Red Bull. It is, as I said, massively interesting. You've got Sergio Perez on pole. You've then got the two Ferraris. You've got Verstappen in P4. And then we've got the intriguing story of Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, I think he's back in 17th. It might be 16th, but he's back in 17th after a terrible qualifying yesterday. George Russell, his compatriot, is in 5th. Second race of the season. We had a really great race last week, and now we're going to see, are Haas good? Are Alpine going to come back? There's loads and loads of interesting things, and none more so than that Lewis Hamilton cannot win this race. I think that's absolutely apparent that Lewis Hamilton cannot win this race. But can Lewis Hamilton make his way up into the points? And also Ferrari against Red Bull, which I think is going to be massively intriguing as well. So look, we're ready to go. Let me just pop this up on screen for you, actually. So yeah, they're the top 10 positions as we see at the moment. They were their qualifying times yesterday. As you can see, Perez was number 1, Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Ocon. Ocon's ahead of Russell. I thought Russell was in 5th. Russell's in 6th. Then Alonso, the two Alpines, Ocon and Alonso, sandwiching the Mercedes of George Russell. Bottas, Gasly and Magnussen making up the top 10 places on the grid. And that is where the points are scored. So let's see what happens in the race today. But we're excited. We're looking forward to it. And hopefully, great graphics as always by Drawty. Yeah, we're a bit like Mercedes on That's Racing this season. We are adding little bits. We've got the little top 10 leaderboard there. We've changed the way that we've got the graphics there. Hopefully, we've got a lap counter for you as well. We may hit some technical difficulties. That's what happens when you try new things when you're live, but ultimately I'm confident that we'll be in a lot better position than we were for Bahrain. Maybe not Mercedes. Predictions for tonight, Mark. I'm going to drop up a little poll. Who wins the race? I'm going to say, what did I say yesterday? I've got a few polls for you before the race starts at 6 o'clock. I think I predicted Verstappen to win this race. The race actually. So I'm going to go with Verstappen. I actually don't like Red Bull that much, but I don't mind Max Verstappen, and I think he will get a win. I mean, look, he wants to win this title this year. He wants to win a title. I can't see anybody else winning from these four. If we get a different winner from these four, I'll be really surprised. So get your vote in through the poll. Who wins the race? Max, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez. I'm going to go with Verstappen, but obviously the interesting thing for me is, can the Red Bull last the race? I think there is last week again in Bahrain we saw the Red Bulls both going out in the last lap. They couldn't make it to the end. I don't think we'll ever really get the truth as to what the problem was with Red Bull, because I think they would want to keep that probably quite quiet. McLaren, are they going to be any better today? I do like McLaren. I'm really interested in Haas. I'll keep that off for a moment. Magnussen was absolutely fantastic last week. Let's see what he can do this week. And yeah, as you know, Mark, I'm a Woking lad and my uncle works for McLaren, and he has said because of the extra weight that it is causing a lot of issues to Slow Sports News. Yeah, well, we know that McLaren's problem is with it's bouncing around a lot, the porpoising. Whether they can sort that out. Tyres, I think, have caused issues as well. I think we saw last week. We saw with Verstappen last week. He was told to spare his tyres a little bit, and he didn't on the outlap after pitting, and I think that caused him problems as well. I think there's so many unknowns, and there's still so many more things to learn about this that we won't even learn tonight. But I don't think it's going to settle down for quite a while. But what I do think, and I think everybody knows this, is that Red Bull and Ferrari are the two cars to beat at the moment. And I'm really excited the fact that Perez in the Red Bull is in first and Verstappen's in fourth. They're basically sandwiching the two Ferraris. My prediction is that the Ferraris will get ahead of Red Bull in the first few laps. Doesn't mean that they'll win the race, but I think they've got more pace. But then some people feel that Red Bull have got more pace. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting. No Yuki Tsunoda, says Jaden. I'm not fully aware how many runners we've got because I've really had it. It's been Mother's Day today, hasn't it? I'm not a mother. Respect to the mothers. I could be a mother. I could identify as a mother. I suppose you can do that now. But the reality is, we've been doing a lot of cooking and a lot of stuff, looking after them, looking after the wife for the kids today. So, not really been keeping up to date with things. I'm not even sure. There's only I think there's 18 races because Schumacher's not going to race. What's the issue with Tsunoda, Yuki? I don't know what it is. We've got 18 races, which almost puts Hamilton at the back of the grid. So yeah, you says Goldbridge will always be my mother. Yuki had a cooling issue in qualifying, says Dan, so he's out. I am going to do a poll about that in a minute, Jaden. Do I think that Hamilton can make a miracle today? No. I don't think Lewis Hamilton can win today. I think last year I wouldn't have written him off, but I can't. The Mercedes just hasn't got it. I think it's damage limitation for Mercedes at the moment. They'll have been over the moon with third and fourth last week. Keeps them in touch, keeps them ahead of Red Bull. And I think today they'll be looking in the constructors if they can get, maybe if they can get another top 6 finish with George Russell. And I think if Hamilton can get anywhere near 8th, it would be a great race for him. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Mercedes should sod this year and focus on next year's engine, says Julian. I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting Formula 1 season anyway. I think Red Bull against Ferrari would be intriguing anyway. Verstappen would have the edge for me because he's got the experience of winning and being in a championship season or race, whatever you want to call it. But I'm really hoping that Mercedes do get back into it. It's a 23 race season. Even if they sort their car out by race 6, you've still got another 17 races left. So things can change quickly, but I'm hoping Mercedes will sort it out for 2 reasons. I love Hamilton and I like Russell, but also I think if you had 3 cars going for the title, it would just make it really, really interesting. We haven't had that for a long time. Vettel's not back, is he, yet? It's still Hulkenberg. I don't think he's recovered yet, so no, there'll be no Vettel. Who do I think is going to win? I'm going to go Verstappen, Rahil. Interestingly enough, 49% of you can vote in our live chat at the moment, 49% of you are going with Charles Leclerc as the winner, 31% going with Max, 9% going with Sainz, and 12% going with Perez. Look, I enjoy Formula 1. Funny enough, I was speaking to my dad today and we were talking about Formula 1 because he loves it, and we were talking about, because I used to go to his house at the weekends because mum and dad separated when I was quite young, so at weekends I'd go to my dad's, and I remember being around his house when Senna died and Mansell and Damon Hill and all that lot. But I did lose track of, pardon the pun, I spun off F1 for about a decade, but he never has. He really enjoys it, and I've really got back into it. But one of the things I've noticed getting back into it is quite toxic, isn't it? There's football Twitter. I'm fully armed in relation to football Twitter. I know what that's all about, but F1 Twitter is something else, and there is massive rivalry between Red Bull and Mercedes, and that's reflected a lot in the communities. But I don't mind it. I embrace it. I think it's great that there is such enthusiasm around the sports, and it's a growing sport as well. And I'll admit, I only came back into it probably 2 years ago, and ever since I've been hooked back on it again. And I think this season is really interesting, and I'm hoping that all these changes to the cars are going to make it more competitive, because at the end of the day, there are 10 teams and there are 20 races, and there's nothing I would like more than to see Lando Norris, that's his brother, Lando Norris win the Norris. Imagine if he'd been called Morris. No, I would love to see an Esteban Ocon win a race, and then a Verstappen, and then a Hamilton, and then a Russell, and that's what you want to see, real competitive actions. Who do you think is going to get the top 6 predictions, says Jack? I think we'll see Red Bull and Ferrari in the top 4. And then I think the race after that is And I think that's why today is really interesting. You've got Red Bull versus Ferrari, which will obviously take up a lot of attention. But you've also got, can Hamilton get through the pack from the back of the grid? And will the Alfa Romeo of Bottas, or the even the AlphaTauri with Gasly, or as we said, Haas with Magnussen in it, and you've got George Russell, and you've got the Alpines, and maybe McLaren. Can they close the gap on each other, or will we start to see who is the... I mean, there is this belief that Mercedes is the third best team. I don't know what went wrong with Hamilton yesterday. I think it was intriguing. And funnily enough, I was actually talking to my dad today about it, and he was saying, I think that they've tried something with Hamilton's car, because there's a big difference between Hamilton yesterday, who was pushing it but couldn't get to Q2, but Russell did get Q1, and it's almost as if they've tried something with Hamilton's car and it's failed spectacularly. I don't know whether people agree with that. What are you like as a driver, Mark? Says Salim Hamid. I really need to do a bit of a go-karting racing with Goldbridge. Maybe challenge a few people, because I haven't done it for a few years, but I'm always... I'll break late into the corners and gamble. I'm a bit of a gambler when it comes to racing. So yeah, what are you like? Yes, we've done that one from Salim. Yeah, but slowly wins the race. Sometimes is best. Lewis will be on a mission today. I just don't know how good his car's going to be. But it's a challenge for him, big challenge for him. As I said, I mean, Hamilton after qualifying yesterday, it was a disaster. But he did seem quite like he was embracing the challenge. I do love this circuit, by the way. Night racing is always exciting with the lights, and the track is tight. It's a street circuit that very big barriers. I think we will see safety cars today. I'd be stunned if we don't see safety cars. And anybody who says that Formula One's boring, I mean, look at the race last year. Hamilton's going to win the championship. There's hardly any time left. Mick Schumacher spins off. We get a safety car. Max Verstappen wins the race and wins the championship. Last week, it looked like it was pretty done and dusted. We end up with another safety car, and Verstappen ends up out the race. So look, I think it's going to be really interesting. Please do subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. This is That's Football channel. We do a lot of watch-alongs for football, but we're also doing the Formula One this season. Big shout out to the graphics. Drawty's been working hard. I've been working hard on some stuff as well. If you look at the race setup we had last week, we've changed it, and hopefully Mercedes are going to do that as well. As the season goes on, hopefully they can add bits in as well. So yeah, there is a United stand tonight at 8 o'clock. Yes. So yeah, we've got a race. United stand follows this at 8 o'clock. Yeah. So get ready. Let's get ready to rumble. Safety car. Southgate out. I'm not getting involved in how the race. I did a very short story of how the race ended last year. Safety car came out, and man in charge of F1 decided to change the rules and let certain cars who had been overlapped come through, and then not the rest. And obviously Max Verstappen on fresh tyres just blitzed past Hamilton and won the championship. It was a farce, but we can't really keep going on about it, can we? And I do like Max Verstappen. I'm a big fan of Max Verstappen. I just don't like Red Bull, because I find Christian Horner mildly irritating, to say the least. But I don't despise Red Bull. I mean, I don't. What did you think about the drama before qualifying, says Alex? I suppose we're talking about the terrorist incidents, really. At the end of the day, they're racing. I would hope that nobody's been forced into it. And ultimately, I can't really say anything more than that. I've got my headphones, don't worry about that, Chris. We've got the headphones, we're ready to go. I need that when the race goes on, because I watch football without headphones. I don't need the audio on football, because I can watch a game and basically you can get away with a lot of it, but I can't do it. I just can't do it with Formula One, because there's so many things going on. It's impossible. Impossible. Do. Sainz has got a problem with his car, says Liam Rogers. I'm going to put the headphones on just so that I can keep you up to date. Corb says, hi Mark, new to F1. Do you think the teams plan which laps they will pit, or do they wait and see how the race goes? So, I've got a bit of a theory on this, and look, I said this last week. I think with F1, you can be an F1 light fan. Maybe you've watched Drive to Survive. Maybe you saw the race at the end of last season, and you think, oh, I'm going to give it a go. Very welcome, in my opinion. But you've got hardcore. Hold on, Toto Wolf's just talking here. Yeah, and you've got hardcore F1 fans who know absolutely everything about F1. So, but I think this year, and it's only my theory, and people will tell me you're an idiot, but in relation to pit strategy, I think teams do have a pit strategy before the race, but 100% you've got to be adaptive in the race. But I think what we saw last week in relation to pit strategy is that I think that I'm trying to think how to explain this. So when you pit in F1, you can do it and know what's going to go on. You know, there's always an element of risk when you pit. There might be a slow tyre change, there might be a problem, etc., etc. You might have a slow lap on your out lap. But I think in previous years, pitting was pretty predictable. You're 20 seconds ahead, you know where you're going to come out. I think what we saw last week is that pitting has become more unpredictable. The tyre temperatures are not as controlled as they were last year. The out laps, they've got to be a bit careful on their tyres. So I think there's a lot more risk when it comes to pitting strategy now. And therefore, we might see a change in pitting strategies in the fact that I think teams know they can have a 3 pit stop strategy in certain races and there's not a lot of risk. Whereas now more teams might think, well, there's risk attached to pitting now, we might stay out for 2. So, I don't know, I'd keep an eye on pitting strategies because I definitely thought last week it's hard to predict everything's going to run smoothly now. And what was quite a smooth process could become quite an unsmooth process. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. But I certainly think that they were definitely more exciting pit stops last week, and I'm just hoping we're going to see, and I think we will see, a very similar race to last week where it's absolutely banging. But I'm just got to sort something out here just so it's ready for the race. So the race will start at 6 o'clock. We'll have the formation lap, then everyone will join in. Let me get that going. There we go. No, why do you do that? Why do you do that? Don't need a capital letter. Race. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Just saying on the TV there that there's a lot of walls. I don't see any overtaking happening here, so Serial Loser. I 100% see overtaking happening here. I think in the Monaco Grand Prix, yeah, you're not going to see a lot of overtaking, but I think in a race like this, you will do. Who do I think is going to win? I'm going with Verstappen, but interestingly, 48. But let's close this poll actually, because I want to do another poll before we start. So 48% of you have voted that Leclerc will win. 31% have gone with Max, and 12% with Perez, 9% with Sainz. I want to run another poll. Will Lewis Hamilton, who is starting in either 16th or 17th position, I can't remember, and I'm going to say top 8, bottom 8, below 8. So basically, Lewis Hamilton is starting from either 16th or 17th position. I want you to tell me in the chat. He's starting from 15th now, apparently. Will he make the top 8 from 15th, or will he be below 8th? I think it's very difficult to get into the top 8 because you don't whiz through. You've got to overtake people. People got more space in front of you. you're going to lose a lot of seconds very, very quickly. So I think it'll be difficult for Hamilton to get top 8. Having said that, if other people retire, I think what Mercedes have got to do is just acquire points. Until they've got a car that's good enough to win the race, they've got to acquire points. And the best way they do that is just almost do what they did last week, hang around a bit, finish the race. Red Bull didn't finish the race yesterday. Pump says top 8 definitely. I think Hamilton will be P9 or P10, says Ian Golding. I fancy him to be in the race. In the top 10. Obviously that's the top 10 that starts off with to my right at the moment, but I fancy him being in the top 10. Beyond that, I think it will be difficult, but I predict him to be in the top 10. The reason I said will he make 8th, I think he might make 8th. I don't think anything higher than that, but his car's a problem, definitely. But we've got 9 minutes till the start of this race. Sergio Perez is in pole position. Let me just take them off for you for a moment. 10th maximum, says Gerhard. What I will say, and I can't really run a poll for this, who do you think is going to be the best of the rest today? We've got the Red Bull and the Ferraris. I think they will be top 4. Who do you think will be the best of the rest? It won't be Hamilton today. He's too far back. I think the contenders, you've got to put Magnussen as a contender again. I think he's got a very, very good chance of having a good day in the Haas again. Obviously, you've got Ocon, who's in 5th already. Ramos, Russell, Alonso, Bottas, Gasly and Magnussen. Gasly, Bottas, Alonso, Russell and Ocon all ahead of Magnussen. So he's got to move ahead of all those to be the racer of the day. Alpine are the unknowns. I feel that Alpine last week didn't have the race they should have done. They still scored points, but Gasly did really well last week, Christian, and obviously his car caught on fire. I think it's intriguing between those 6 positions behind Verstappen, Ocon, Russell, Alonso, Gasly, Bottas and Magnussen, and maybe other racers can come into the top 10. I mean, let's not forget there are Lando Norris, Ricciardo. They're not far off the top 10 on the grid. Hamilton will want to break in there, but who's going to finish the best of the rest? Presuming that Red Bull and Ferrari get the top 4 positions, who are the best of the rest? I would say it should be Russell. It should be Russell, but I'm intrigued by the Alpines and Haas as well, so I think that will be interesting. JH says Gasly's actually one of the most consistent overperformers in Formula 1, and Charles says I think Gasly will be in the top 5 in this race, and I'm going to try and have a current lap counter on the screen, Callum. There's no guarantees it will work, but we will definitely try. And World Cup draw on Friday. I'll probably do a watch along for it, Faris, but the World Cup draw on Friday will be a little bit fragmented, won't it? Because there's a few teams that we won't even know whether they're in it or not. It will be either ors, and there'll be I think with some of them there might even be, there might even be 3. It will be Wales, Scotland, or Ukraine, won't it? In the group. This race needs a Perez win to blow the title weight race open, says Jay. I'd love a Sergio Perez or a Sainz win. If it's going to be Red Bull or Ferrari who win it, I'd love to see Perez or Sainz win it. To be honest, I mean, I don't know what people think, that there is a podcast I was listening to a couple of days ago, and there is a feeling that Sainz might win this race. I don't know where that's coming from. I wouldn't predict Sainz to win it, but it would be very interesting. I mean, I think obviously Verstappen is the number 1 racer at Red Bull, and Leclerc is the number 1 racer at Ferrari, but I'd love to see a Perez or a Sainz win if one of those are going to win it. 3 years ago, I used to troll Mark. Today is my favourite YouTuber, says 0 Degrees. Thank you very much. Do you think Mercedes will get back to the front in the next few races? That's the $1 million question, Charlie. I don't know. We spoke about it last week. Everything I watch or everything I listen to about Formula 1 at the moment, people are talking about how good the Ferrari is and the race between Ferrari and Red Bull. And the third topic is, will Mercedes make it back? There is a hope that they can be back competing at the top in the next few races, but I don't know. I mean, maybe they can be, maybe they can't be. It just depends how far off they are from actually solving their issues, and once they've solved their issues, there is a belief that they've got a fast car. But I don't know. Do you care more about United than England? 100%, Paul. Yeah, I only really care about England when it's the tournament and you live in the bubble of that tournament. Leclerc and Sainz are as good as each other, says Daniel Johnson. Sainz has issues with his car, unlike Leclerc, says Saban. This track is very unpredictable. Well, I firmly believe that we will see the safety car at least once today. Yeah. I've heard about iRacing, Curly. I've heard about it. I mean, I do like racing games, but it's time issues for me because I do a lot of football content, as you know. But yes, lovely track this. 50 laps of this race, so not as many as last week. It's a very thin track in relation to it runs side each other. It's like a long... It looks like a whale to me, actually. A skinny whale. Or something else more sinister. But you know what I'm thinking about. But it is... it was a great race last year between Hamilton and Verstappen and Ocon. They've just shown the start there. Whenever I watch F1, I always think the first corner, it's always congested, and I don't want to predict it, but I think we will end up in a situation where we probably get a few coming togethers in the opening corner, which is why it's always good to be at the front of the pack, because you don't get caught up in the thing that's going on at the back. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's in a very dangerous position at the back of the grid, or towards the back of the grid, because if anything happens in front of you, you can just fly into it and you're out of the race. So, yeah. Hamilton might start from the pit lane. Why is that? Kevin says the first 10 seconds are important in any race. He's in 15th, Hamilton, by the way. Ricciardo 14th. Lance Stroll 13th. Zhou is in 12th and Lando Norris in 11th. And then the top 10 you can see on my right-hand side. If Hamilton finishes this race, I'll eat my words, says What's for dinner. Yeah, you're not the first. I was just looking at some of the comments there. A few people are predicting that Hamilton's going to struggle to finish the race today. Are we thinking that's because of the problems he had yesterday? I think the Mercedes has looked like it can finish a race. I don't think that's necessarily the problem. It might just be the setup of Hamilton's car. I just realised Mark Goldbridge looks like Kevin Magnussen. I've heard this before. I actually don't think there's any truth in that. So we're about 2 minutes away from the formation lap, and then we've got 50 laps. So spitting image of Magnussen. I don't think I look like him that much, to be honest. So let me just give you the latest poll. I was just trying to get it on my phone when actually it'd be easier just to talk to you about it. Will Lewis Hamilton finish top 8 or below 8th? And 36% of you said he's going to finish below 8th. 64% of you, so quite a lot, are saying he's going to finish top 8. Remember, he's starting in 15th, so a lot of faith in Lewis Hamilton in this race. Thank you everybody who's tuned in. Please do subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner to do that. Formation laps are starting here. Sainz starts from the pit lane, Mark. He's not. He's on the grid. I don't know what you're trying to talk to me about. I can watch here. So formation lap starts here. Get excited. This is what it is all about. It's race time. Malavio, who's obviously not a Hamilton fan, says he'll scam his way to the top. So formation lap. They all go round the track. Get their tyres going. Round to the start. And then it's race time. Get ready for this. The first few seconds of the race are normally some of the most exciting. Yeah, Sainz is not starting from the pit lane. I don't know why people are saying that. He's starting from the track. And we're good to go. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We are live and ready to go here, as I say. And the race is good to go too. Fastest racetrack on the calendar, says Amanchu. That sounds like a song. Fastest racetrack on the calendar. Dum, 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 dum. Fastest racetrack on the calendar. Watch Verstappen from the start of this race. I mean, he's already pissing about here. Like, he's almost moving for space here. But this is only the formation lap. As you can see, Verstappen's just gone round. You've then got Ocon, Russell in the Mercedes, Alonso. Who's below Alonso? I've forgotten who's below Alonso. It's not the Haas. Bottas in the Alfa Romeo, then Gasly in the Alfa Tauri, then Haas in Magnussen in number 10. Lando Norris is in number 11. He's not on the screen at the moment, but he could get there. Bottas is in behind Alonso. Right, so they're forming up here. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Smash a like. Philip says Hamilton should get at least 5th. He's not racing in last year's car, mate. It'll be difficult. Get ready to start here. Alfa Romeo, Bottas, back. Toto Wolff. First F1 race, I'm very excited. Thanks for the intro, Mark. It's Daniel Luciano. Good. I hope more and more people are getting involved in it, because it is very exciting. We're going to try and do a lot of watch-alongs on here this year. Make sure you subscribe, smash a like on the video. Graphics are looking good. Thank you very much, Watty. We're about ready to go here. The race is about to start. Boom! Shakalak, we're off. Perez starts in front, cuts across. Verstappen's coming, and he's going to get 3rd, is he? No. Yes. No. Verstappen aggressive into 3rd. Yeah, he is. Verstappen's pushing here. Verstappen's into 3rd. Russell's lost a spot as well. Hard to see what's going on here. Ooh, it's exciting, It's settling down a little bit now. Do you think Verstappen's racing style is dangerous as N? I think it's just he's just aggressive, isn't he? He is up to 3rd place at the moment. Ocon is still in 5th. Russell is in 6th. 7th, Alonso. Bottas 8th. Hamilton's up one. No, he's not. Yeah, he's up 1 spot. To Zhu's had a terrible start in the Alfa Romeo. Down to 18th. I don't know what went wrong with him. Everyone seems to have held position. Magnussen, I think, has moved up past Gasly. Hamilton's up in 14th place, but Verstappen's done really well here. He's made a good move to get up to 3rd. Lando Norris is up to 10. So Gasly's lost 2 spots. Zhu looks done already, says referee. I don't know what's gone wrong with him. He's dropped way off the pace. Latifi's actually in last in 18th. Right, I've got problems here with one of my things. Let me see if I can sort it out. Okay, I've got a lap counter for you. At least that's working. As you can see in the top left-hand corner, that's what I was trying to get going. So we're on lap 1 at the moment. That is at least working. I'm trying to get something else working here. There we go. We're on lap 2. Everything's working. Good. There we go. Thank God for that. I was wondering what was going on there. So you've got your updated leaderboard there. That's your top 10 at the moment. And we're on lap 2 over there. This is difficult. I feel like Mercedes here. Trying to sort things out while we're actually live. So thanks everyone who's tuning in. Hamilton. I'm just looking at Hamilton's start here. Got to be careful. You've got to be so careful on that first corner. There's so many cars in front of you. He's going to have to... I think Lewis knows that it's about a 50-lap race, really. Yeah, well, it's interesting with Zhu, the Chinese racer, because he was in a good position and he's gone all the way back down the grid. And the same thing happened with Bottas last week. Tyre compounds are quite interesting because Magnussen, Hamilton and... Hulkenberg are the only 3 racers out of 18 who are on the hard tyres. Everyone else is on mediums. So Hamilton on the harder tyres, how do you think that's going to work out? Hamilton's currently in 14th position. Potentially that means that he could stay out longer, Hamilton. We'll have to wait and see. Sainz losing a spot to Verstappen, I think that was inevitable. Absolutely inevitable. I think the interesting thing is Leclerc sandwiched by the Verstappen in Perez cars at the moment. Oh, Russell's just gone up to 5th. Good move by George Russell there. So he's the best of the rest at the moment. Good move by George Russell and he holds the spot. There's all sorts of movements going down that straight at the moment, but no other change. Lap 4. Russell up to 5th. Look at the gap between 4th and 5th already, says JDD. Yeah, 4 seconds between Sainz and Russell. The Red Bulls and the Ferraris just on a different pace here. Massive here. It is the race to be the best of the rest outside Red Bull and Ferrari. We've said that a few times, and currently it's Russell. Hamilton pushing Ricciardo, sorry. But he's got some good races ahead of him. Ricciardo, Stroll, Gasly, Norris, just to get in the top 10. And he's 2 seconds down on him. But pit stops are going to be interesting. Hard tyres for Magnussen, Hamilton. Can they stay out longer? Ollie says Red Bull are going to fall apart at lap 42. Thanks everyone who's watching, by the way. Got nearly 6,000 of you watching. Please smash a like and share the video. You're very welcome on here. Keeping you up to date with the Formula 1 in Saudi Arabia on lap 4 of 50. If you want to see the lap counter, just look where my finger is. Underneath where it says Jeddah, number 4, that's the lap counter. We will have something more distinctive for the next one, but we've just been working on a few ideas. Dan says, Mark, you're a legend. I'm invested in F1 now this year. Oh, Alonso nearly went into the wall there. He's all right. Still behind Ocon. Interesting start. It's quite a settled start. We've not had any collisions, which I thought might happen in this track. But yeah, good start here. Magnussen's in 9th. Gasly is back in 10th. Norris had got past him, but I don't know what happened there. Gasly's come back and has got a 2-second. Here's Alonso. Tried a gap on Ocon that wasn't there. Alpine are battling with each other, F1 at the moment. They're battling with each other. Mick is fine. Mick Schumacher is fine. He's just not racing today. Obviously, a big collision yesterday, but he's absolutely fine. Checo Perez is flying here, says Malabo. Well, it's interesting. 2 seconds between Perez and Ferrari. Perez in number 1, P1 at the moment. Leclerc in second place. 2.3 seconds. He's ahead of him. They're both on medium tyres. So Red Bull ominously looking good here. I thought Ferrari would be quicker, but maybe I've read the situation wrong. The table is updating. Yeah, there'll be a little bit of a delay, but the table is updating, yeah. Lap 6. Alonso's really pushing on Ocon here. I mean, they're in the same bloody car. If I was in charge of Alpine, I'd be saying let him go. They're having a right old battle with here. 2 pink cars, the Alpine, Alonso and Ocon. They're having a really battle. Yeah. Yeah, they just said it on the commentary there. They're hurting each other's tyres because they're pushing, they're braking, and ultimately they're on the same team. If one's quicker, let him through. Let Alonso through. Russell, though, he's pulled away from Ocon. So Mercedes is clearly the third best car. But the gap between Sainz and Russell is 6 seconds. 6 seconds. The Red Bull and the Ferrari, it's a bit of a shame, really. They're just so quick compared to everybody else. And it's going to make it... we're only on lap 6. They're making a second a lap, virtually, on the rest of the pack, the Ferrari and the Red Bull. They're unbelievable. Apparently this is the last race Alpine will be in pink of the season. Hamilton's running in 14th at the moment, and he's half a second down on Ricciardo, so he's on the hard tyres though. How do you think that's going to impact the race? Alonso and Ocon is the race here. Alonso, and he is past that time. Oh, Ocon and Alonso here. And he concedes. Alonso is through past Ocon. Maguire versus Joan in the pink cars, says Rudy. It's the pink cars! It's the pink cars! Well, Alonso's just overtaken Ocon. They're on the same team, but it's probably for the best, really, because Alonso seemed to have the pace. Although Ocon's coming back at him now. They're pushing and pushing. It must be a nightmare as the team principal, because they're both on the same team. So what are we on? Lap 7. Red Bull and Ferrari tearing away here. I mean, the gap between 4th place Sainz and 5th place Russell is just huge. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's now 7.5 seconds. Now 3 seconds ahead. Okay, Verstappen's just saying that the lights on the back of Ferrari's car don't work. He does moan a lot, Verstappen, to be honest. Oh, Ocon's had to go off the track. Yeah. Ocon's left the track to go ahead of Alonso. He'll have to give that space back. It's an intriguing battle between Alpine here. Ocon and Alonso, they're just going head to head. And... interesting. Max does moan a lot, says Shub. Yeah, he's an aggressive driver. He moans a lot. Nothing wrong with that, but he's always on the bloody radio. He's on the radio more than Heart FM. Hamilton's still down in 14th. He is closing up on Ricciardo, though. It's that gap's down to 0.3 of a second now. Bottas is now trying to come on at Ocon. Interesting there. Are the Pink Panthers close to anyone? No. I mean, the beneficiary of this battle between Alonso and Ocon is actually benefiting Russell, who is now 6 seconds ahead of Alonso. I don't know whether it's disappointing yet because it's early on in the season, but Sainz is 8 seconds ahead of Russell, who is 6 seconds ahead of Alonso. So there's a really good race going on here between Alpine's Alonso and Ocon and Bottas and Magnussen. They're really, really close. Interesting here. This is in Saudi Arabia, this race. Bottas, Magnussen, pressuring Ocon here. We're not seeing a lot of the top of the race because Perez is P1, as you can see on the screen. He's 2.5 seconds ahead of Leclerc. And obviously Verstappen's in third and Sainz in fourth. They're having their own little race there. But the interesting race at the moment is between the Alpines. And then Bottas and Magnussen trying to benefit from that as well. Hamilton's up to 13th. We haven't seen that. They haven't shown us that. Yeah, he is up to 13th. Ricciardo's had a problem. I think he's come into the pits. Ricciardo's pitted, hasn't he? He's gone onto the hards. He wasn't on the hards, so I think Ricciardo's has pitted, allowing Hamilton through. Lando Norris is in 11th. I'll tell you how far off 10th he is. The interesting thing is you can have the commentary on and they'll miss things. Hamilton's up to 12th now. He's gone past Stroll. Ocon, Alonso and Bottas are like Spurs, Arsenal and United to Zephyr. Yeah. So here's Hamilton. He's just gone up to 12th. And he goes past Stroll. There we go. Hamilton's up to 12th. So his next target is actually Lando Norris. And he is about a second and a bit behind him. Running on the hard tyres. P12 for Hamilton. We spoke about it before the race. Can he get top 8? I think if you look at the pace of Russell, he probably can. Hamilton is 32. Hamilton's only about 7 seconds off 6th. So I wouldn't over a race. We've only had 10 laps. Right, here's Sainz radio. Let's have what he's going to say. Now, Ferrari have just come out on their radio and said that their tyre degradation is better than that of Red Bull. Now, the gap at the top, I can't see it because you're very small on my screen here. But the gap at the top is 2.5 seconds between the leader, Perez, and Leclerc. You've then got about another 1.5 seconds to Verstappen between Leclerc. And then Sainz is about 7 seconds off the top. So they're very close in relation to pit strategy. And pit strategy will have a big part to play here. Russell's miles behind the top 4. He's 10 seconds off 4th place. So they're losing a lot. They're basically losing a second a lap. McLaren, Mercedes and everybody else. Some of them are losing 2 seconds a lap. Thanks everyone who's watching. We've got 6,000 of you watching. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Hopefully we'll grow during the year. But very excited here. And Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. Thought he'd got past Bottas there, but doesn't. My race prediction winner, most of you went with Leclerc. I think it was like 49%. I went with Verstappen, which I think had about 25%. So I'm going to stay with that. Is Hamilton finished? He's just in a slower car, Ahmed. That's the problem that Hamilton's got. He's made the most overtakes in the race so far. He's made 3 overtakes. Hulkenberg's done 2. Hamilton against Norris now, looking to go through. And he's done him. Hamilton past Norris there. Into P11. On the hard tyres as well. What's wrong with the new Mercedes car, says Rafe? Open up the chat. Experts, tell us what's wrong with the Mercedes car. Ocon's just gone past... No. Alonso and Ocon are just going at each other 6th and 7th here. Which benefits Hamilton, because those two going at each other, the gap between Hamilton and Alonso is coming down. I don't know what happened with Ricardo. Does anybody know? Too draggy, says Alex. Nothing wrong with FIFA. Downforce issues. It's the porpoising, isn't it? It's very bouncy, the Mercedes car. It can be quicker. Anyone know what happened with Ricardo in the McLaren? I know he's on hards from mediums, but why would you pit so soon? Lawrence says, I can see the Alpines taking each other out. Yeah, they are on the same team. There are 10 cars. Sorry, there's 20 cars and 10 teams. And Alpine, Ocon and Alonso are racing each other here. And they're both on the same team. Some teams have team orders. I think it's very early in the season to do that. Nearly 3 seconds between Perez and Charles Leclerc at the moment. 2.5 seconds back for Verstappen. Lewis is going to finish 7th, says Ollie Sharp. I was just having a look at that there. I think Lewis has got a good chance of 6th, to be honest with you. Track is dangerous place, high speeds yet, no runoff, says MD. Loving the F1 watch along, says Logue. Thank you very much. We do have an 8 o'clock show on the United Stand tonight. Ricardo left his hat in the pit, so he's going to get it back, says Kurt Cobain. And 1 pit strategy, I think, says Tarrant. Yeah, we'll see. Hamilton's not quite in the points yet. He's a second off Gasly in 10. The belief is that the Mercedes is the best of the rest behind Ferrari and Red Bull, so... Ocon radio here. Ocon's just been told to hold by his team orders there, but the problem is he's got Bottas right up his arse, so holding position might be difficult. Hamilton's right up the backside of Gasly here. Loses it. Ocon's just lost his spot to Bottas. So told to hold. Loses his spot to Bottas, who might now be attacking Alonso. Hamilton's done Gasly as well. Lance Stroll's back in 15th, Joel Morris. I'll run through the order in a minute, but there's a few changes here. Not in the top 4, not in the top 5, to be fair. Hamilton's now in the points. He's in 10th. You should be able to say, hello, Lewis, very, very soon on the screen. He'll be replacing... Who have you got on the screen there for 10? He'll be replacing Gasly very, very soon when it updates. Hamilton is up to 10. Bottas has just took Ocon out. Took his position, 7. There he is, Lewis going past Gasly. Hamilton will be attacking Bottas in a few laps, Ollie, if this continues at this pace. pit stop's going to be very interesting here because it's only 2 seconds between Perez, Leclerc, and then another 2 seconds to Verstappen. So if you piss up your pit stop, you could lose position. So very interestingly. Ethan says, Hamilton's going for a one pit strategy, mates. Yep. You've got to try something different, haven't you? Hamilton is in 10. I'm not 100% sure. Why it's not updated on my screen, because he definitely is in P10, Hamilton. Now it's updated now. Yeah. Okay. Alex, you're speaking to the wrong person here. Alex says, how much are they allowed to alter the car during the season? I think there's windows to do it. There's budgets. Pit stop. Charles Leclerc, watch out. Here we go. No, Charles Leclerc's going to carry on. Perez is in the pit. Perez is pitted. Leclerc is in the front, which I thought was interesting because Hamilton, we'll talk about in a minute, but in relation to the pit there, it felt like... So Perez comes out just behind George Russell. I think he'll get past him quite quickly because he's in a quicker car. But Leclerc was talking about coming into pit, but we heard about 5 minutes ago from Ferrari control that their car tyre degradation is not the same as Red Bull. It's better, so they don't need to come in as quick. So good plan there by Ferrari. Can they open up and make a bit of daylight here? Yellow flag. Oh, yellow flag. Williams out. Latifi. Oh, I told you. I told you. Yellow flag. Yellow flag. Safety car. So everyone's going to pit now under the safety car. Everyone will bunch up. That's what I mean. It's this race was always going to have this. But Latifi is out of the race, and we will have a safety car. It's so frustrating because that screws Perez, says Vincent. Obviously Perez pitted just before that happened. Yeah, so Perez pitted 1 lap before the virtual car, so it messes him up, really. So Leclerc will come in for the pits, won't he, as well, I think, at some point, surely? I never understand the safety car bit, really. Will Leclerc pit now? Yes, he has. He's on the hards. So he has already pitted. They've all pitted. Sorry, I missed that one. I don't suppose it helps Hamilton much, really, because Hamilton... everyone's had a free pit stop, really, haven't they? Whereas Hamilton won't pit because he can stay out for a little bit. One thing I wanted to know, if you pit on a safety car, do you lose position or do you automatically go back to where you are? So we've had a crash from Latifi. He's all right, but it means safety car for the next while they clear the space and clear the track, and then we'll get the race up and going again. But obviously everyone box in now. Hamilton's in 7th place, by the way. Yeah, you lose position. Thanks, everyone. So Hamilton's up to 7th because everyone else has pitted to go on the hard tyres. But obviously Hamilton... I don't know whether it helps Hamilton because everyone's on the hard tyres now. Does it help Hamilton? Does it not help Hamilton? Hamilton didn't pit because he doesn't need to pit. But he will have to pit at some point. Trying to think this through. Hamilton will have to pit at some point, and so will everybody else. So I don't think it does help Hamilton that much. I agree with Oliver. It doesn't help him really, because everyone's on the hard tyres and his hard tyres are more worn. We'll see. Yeah, Taryn's right. Hamilton could have a better start because he's got warmer tyres, but he'll get degradation sooner than everybody else. Doesn't help him, says Gabrielle. Icole says it's not a sport. Well, don't watch it then. Sainz is saying that Verstappen pushed him off as he came out the pit. I don't think it is. I'm not a Red Bull fan, but I don't think Verstappen's done anything wrong there. I don't know what you think. Basically, Sainz comes out saying he got pushed, says Mark. Get rid of Latifi, says Doug. Hey, we've got nearly 7,000 watching. I hope you're enjoying the show, everybody. Please do subscribe and give us a follow. Smash a like on the video and share it. We're just waiting to get going again. Safety car on lap 18 here. Time for a bit of a stretch. We're on the United stand at 8 o'clock. If you're interested in the football. Fastest lap. I don't know who's had the fastest lap, Sean, actually. Yeah, it's interesting. I was just listening to them there talking about Hamilton, and he was obviously running a one-pit strategy like Magnussen and Hülkenberg, and obviously they're forced into a two. Well, they're not. They can do it. They can still run a one-stop strategy, but everyone's already had their one now. So. Just dropped my ring. Where are you gone? Oh, God. Perez could end up with a penalty. Because basically he cut up signs. That's what they're saying. I had no idea how many factors go into F1. It's very cool, says Daniel Luciano. It's great when you get into it, mate. It really is. I really enjoy it. So make sure you subscribe, get involved. Perez could get penalised because as Sainz came out of the pits, he felt he was pushed by the Red Bull. I didn't actually see a lot in it myself, but I'm not the stewards. How's you doing? Here we go. We're just going to see it again now. Perez. So Sainz comes in to the pits, comes out. So Sainz comes out and feels he gets pushed out. Mark, here we go. Oz, Mark, PS5 or Xbox, if you could only play one the rest of your life, which would it be? Also, any news on Ten Hag? Don't have any news on Ten Hag, Oz. PS5. PS5 for me. I can run a poll if everyone's bored. Either or. There you go. You can have a little bit of a poll while we're waiting for this race to start up again. Behind the safety car. PS5 or Xbox. Get in the chat. Safety cars coming in this lap. Get ready to go, everybody. So, Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Russell, Magnussen, Hamilton, Alonso, Hulkenberg, Bottas make the top 10 at the moment. Ocon's in 11. Ricciardo, Norris, Gasly, Zhou, Stroll, Albon, and Latifi is obviously out. That boat's ridiculous in the dock. Hey, talking about consoles, who remembers the Neo Geo? Got to be old school to remember that. Right, safety car's going to come in. I'd love that safety car. Verstappen's going to have a right old go at him here, Leclerc. There we go. Verstappen's trying to get ahead of him and the safety car's not even ended yet. Still not got going yet, but Verstappen is pushing up against Leclerc. So Leclerc goes, we're going. Verstappen's going to have a pop at him, I think. And it's Verstappen against Leclerc in 1-2 at the moment. And Russell's up to 5th already. Alonso's having a go at Hamilton, but I'm watching the front two at the moment. Japanese kid had an Neo Geo at school. The games were like 100 quid each. They were, and the graphics were amazing, Nick. Absolutely. Don't really like these new consoles. Majority of the games you have to play online, says Lay. Thanks for the super chats, by the way. Perez has conceded that position on Sainz as well before the stewards told him to do it. So probably a clever move by Perez. Unfortunate for Perez, he was leading the race. He came into the pits before the crash and he ends up in 4th place. Those are the rules. I remember the Game Boy. Hamilton's in 7th at the moment. On board with him. Yeah, remember Hamilton's been on the hard tyres for 22 laps. Everyone else isn't on. Is on hard tyres, just warming them up. So can Hamilton and Magnussen make an impact? Oh, Blom says, Mark, stewards never tell you to give back spots anymore. You either do it or you will get a penalty after the race. What was the Sega? You had the Game Boy and there was a Sega one as well. Can't remember what it was called. They had a handheld as well. Yeah, Perez give up the spot there to let Sainz through. Hamilton and Magnussen pushing each other here between 6 and 7. Just having a look outside the top 10 at the moment. Ocon is close to Bottas. You've got Ricciardo, Norris, Gasly. Gasly's dropping back a bit. Then you've got Zhou and Stroll, Albon, Latifi obviously out. So we've got 17 races at the moment. Game Gear, that's what it was called. Would you ever consider playing God of War? Best game of the past 10 years. Great story and easy controls. Takes about 15 hours to complete the campaign. I would consider it, Jack. Mega Drive was my first console, Harry. Loved the Mega Drive. Sega! In fact, talking about Formula 1, one of the greatest Formula 1 games I ever had was Ayrton Senna's was it San Marino GP or something like that? I think they called it. Was it San Marino or was it Monaco? I think it was Monaco, wasn't it? Wouldn't be San Marino, I don't think. It was a great game. I do remember the Super Nintendo, Joel. Red Dead will be back, Tom. Don't worry about that. Probably back this week, actually. Hamilton and Magnussen are doing well. They're in 6th and 7th, but they're going to have to pit. Everyone's going to have to pit again, I think. But they're going to have to pit to a point where they can get to the final. It's difficult for Hamilton and Magnussen, I think. F1 Manager's coming out this year as well. Yeah, is that on is that on your phone? I think that'd be quite interesting. It wasn't Gran Turismo, no. It was Ayrton Senna Mega Drive Formula 1 game. I can't remember what it was called. So Hulkenberg's up to 9th now. Doing very well. Alfa Romeo. Not Aston Martin. Hamilton's into 6th. Hamilton's into 6th. But Magnussen's got DRS though. And he's passed him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, good play by Magnussen. And Hamilton loses it again. Charles Leclerc's just done the fastest lap. Mark, do you remember the Atari Lynx? Another handheld, had a weird shape. I know the name, Nick, but I can't think what you're on about. So Hamilton went past Magnussen there, but then he used the DRS to get back at him, a little bit like last week between Leclerc and Verstappen, who for 3 laps just kept overtaking each other. DRS, is it drag reduction system? Basically allows you to move quicker in certain areas of the racetrack. You can only use it on certain areas of the racetrack. Any chance of Hamilton being on the podium? Nah, I mean, we were talking about this before the race, Christopher. I think that if Hamilton gets top 10, it's a good race for him. If he gets top 8, it's a great race for him. So, yeah. The lap counter's there next to my hand. See, 25, we're halfway through the race. So, yeah. I'm going to get something that says lap counter for the next race, which is actually 2 weeks today at 6 a.m. Hamilton past Magnussen again, up to 6th. So, we've got Red Bull and Ferrari in the top 4 positions, and we've now got Russell and Hamilton in 5 and 6. Order resumed for the moment. Mercedes the quickest of the rest. But a good race by Hamilton to start, what? P15, 15th on the grid, he's up to 6th. Max has just done the fastest laps as Laxman. John says, I'm not getting up at 6 a.m. I will be getting up at 6 a.m. for the watch-along. I will do it. 2 weeks today, 6 a.m. Also, the same day, it's Man City against Liverpool. Big Sunday, 2 weeks today. Verstappen's moaning again. Only a second between Verstappen and Leclerc in the lead at the moment. Hulkenberg has gone down to 12th, Ricciardo. Ocon's in 10th now. So the Aston Martin of Hulkenberg is starting to lose position now. He is the same position as Magnussen and Hamilton. They've been on hards for 26 laps. Everyone else has been on hards for about 5 laps, is it? 4 or 5 laps? Yeah, the next race. I can't remember where the next race is. Someone in the chat. Where's the next race? PS5's won by 70%, by the way, in that chat. We'll end that poll. Where's the next race? I know it's a 6 a.m. start. Is it Australia? Bruno Verstappen, says Lele. He's always bloody moaning. He is, yeah. Yeah, it's Australia, the next race. It's a 6 a.m. No, Australia. That's the next one. Lewis is in P6. Be interested to see when Hamilton comes in. Verstappen's on the radio again. Bet he's moaning. Yeah, 1.2 seconds between Leclerc and Verstappen. It's going to come down to second pit stop this race at the moment, because Ferrari's not pulling away from Red Bull and Red Bull's not pulling away from Ferrari. They're all very close. Max has moaned more in this race than Bruno has done all season, says Daniel Luciano. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Bruno Verstappen. He's got a new name. Bruno Verstappen. Be interested to see if Hamilton can close up on Russell. They're about just over 1.5 seconds between them. Watch that gap. Let's see if it comes down. 1.5 seconds between Russell and Hamilton. Let's see if it comes down. Sainz has said he's had a problem with his car. He doesn't know what it is, so keep an eye on that. With Ferrari, Verstappen's just put in the fastest lap. I'm just looking at the top 10 and who's close to who at the moment. A bit disappointed with the Alpines, to be honest. 8th and 10th. Haas, Magnussen again. Great. Devotion says, I'm new to F1. Can someone explain to me how Hamilton qualified? So basically, the day before the race, everyone does about an hour. The simplest way of saying it is that they spend an hour trying to get the fastest lap. And basically, Hamilton was 15th fastest. So he started in 15th place. And he's made him. And then the race starts today with him in 15th place. And he's made himself up to 6th. Sainz said that he's got a bit of a problem with his car and doesn't know why, so they're looking into it. He had a misshift. Yeah, they're saying there that at least McLaren are being more competitive. They're in P11 and 12 at the moment, so no McLaren in the top 10. But after Ocon, it's Ricciardo and Norris in 11 and 12. Much better than last week, but not where they want to be. Similar things probably going on to Mercedes, where it's just not the car they think it can be at the moment. But Leclerc's just done the fastest lap now, 1:32.7. Only 1.4 seconds between Verstappen and Leclerc at the moment, though, so it's all going to be very interesting in relation to the next pit. Hulkenberg's dropping further and further down. Hamilton's just said his tyres are still okay. So he's 30 laps. Interesting. Hamilton hasn't pitted yet, Ashwin, no. So Hamilton and Magnussen started on the hard tyres, and so did Hulkenberg. Everyone else started on mediums. Perez was leading the race. He came into pit, and then on the next lap, Latifi crashed off, so we had a safety car. Everyone came in and went on to the hards. So Hamilton and Magnussen and Hulkenberg, who's dropping down now, they're out 30 laps on their tyres, whereas everyone else is at about, coming up for about 10. Be interesting to see what Hamilton goes on to. Charlie says, will Hamilton go on to the mediums or the softs? And Diego says the hards are holding out quite well. I suppose the issue is, if the hards are holding out quite well and Hamilton's done 30 laps on them, they might not need to pit again. Nobody might need to pit again. What happened to Renault, says John Sebastian? I'm just thinking, Hamilton's done 30 laps on these tyres and he says they're okay. And everyone else has just pitted with about 30 laps to go, they did. So it might be a one-stop strategy. What happened to Renault, says John. Renault's Alpine, isn't it? It's like Haas, isn't it? Haas is on a Ferrari engine. I think Renault is... Alpine's the only Renault car, though, isn't it? Because Red Bull used to be Red Bull used to be Renault engine. Bottas in 8th, 9th at the moment. Closing in on Alonso. Magnussen's about 3 seconds back. What's the gap now? What's the gap you need to come out in top? So if you were like winning the race, how much of a second gap would you need to come out in front? Is it still about 20 seconds, or do you think it's more? Yeah, interesting point here from Orange. He says people who pitted under the safety car can make it to the end. Hamilton can't. So there may not be another pit. What are we thinking, people? 23 seconds at least, says Christopher now, to pit. So if Hamilton was to pit, he's going to come out in 15th place. And if no one else pits, he's fucked. So it's interesting. Yeah, Hulkenberg's just been told we've got to go for as long as we can on these tyres and hope for another safety car. Safety car needed for Hamilton, yeah. Max is closing a little bit on Leclerc, 1.1 second. Well, the thing is, in 8 we could easily have another safety car. I am doing Portugal versus Macedonia on Thursday night, yeah. Tuesday night, sorry. How many laps can hard tyres do, says Ryan? Well, Hamilton and Magnussen and Hulkenberg are on lap 32. We've only got 18 left. I don't think anyone's going to pit. Hamilton will be on faster tyres if he pits, but he'll lose 20 seconds to do it. He's not going to make 20 seconds up in 18 laps, so he's got to stay out, really. I mean, the gap between Hamilton and Russell, look at that gap between Russell and Hamilton now, 6 seconds. Verstappen's moaning again. Verstappen's just been told to slow down a bit and slow his tyres up. Whether he'll do that or not. Yes, great point there by Sangnick. Hamilton's got to pit at some point because you have to do one pit. He's got to pit. He can't stay out. So he's in a bit of trouble here, Hamilton and Magnussen. They've got to pit. Great point. Well made. Do a poll of Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton, says F1. What, just generally, who do you prefer? Okay. Ainsley says, I'm not being political or anything, but what's your favourite setting on your garden hose? I don't think I've got a garden hose. Who do you prefer? Max. Lewis. There you go. Who do you prefer, Max or Lewis? Play in the poll. You have to do at least one pit in the race, and Hamilton and Magnussen haven't pitted because they started on the hards. So it's looking good for Russell. He's 5th and way out in front in 5th, but Hamilton not looking good for him. Not looking good for Magnussen. And Alonso's actually attacking Magnussen now. He's got a pit. It's a shame for Hamilton and Magnussen because they've been hindered by the safety car. But that's the tactical aspect of Formula One, isn't it? You start on the hards to try and do a one-stop strategy, knowing everyone else is going to do a two-stop strategy. They were absolutely correct. They could have done a one-stop strategy, but unfortunately the safety car has allowed people to come in, and now they're on the hards a lot earlier than they would have been, and you've got to pit at some point. Just got to hope for a safety car. Lewis is winning with 60% of the vote over Max at the moment. Just have a little bit of a stretch. Yeah, 8 o'clock on the United Stand tonight. We've got Ricky on if you're interested in that. Tune on United Stand at 8 o'clock. But here we've got 15 laps to go, and it's currently being led by Charles Leclerc, who's 1.6 seconds ahead of Verstappen. Then it's Sainz, then it's Perez, then it's Russell, then it's Hamilton. But the race at the moment is for 7th between Magnussen and Alonso. And of course, Magnussen's been on those tyres for 35 laps. So you'd fancy Alonso with DRS. And here he goes. Lewis could pit on final lap as waiting for safety car. Yeah, he will do, Orange. Peaky Blinders tonight, Tommy. I order the Peaky Blinders. Tommy. I am Fernando Alonso. By order of Alpine, let me through. Why do I always do voices that make me cough? Hamilton hasn't pitted yet, so he's in a false position because he's got to pit. No one else is going to pit apart from him and Magnussen. But there's no point pitting now because if the safety car happens, you pit then. I tell you what, Tyro, he says, what movie did you watch last night? It was a toss-up between two. I won't tell you the second one because you'll ruin it if I tell you what I didn't watch. But I watched Uncut Gems, and I've got to be honest with you. Loads of people have told me Uncut Gems is good. I wouldn't be watching it again. I thought it was okay. I wasn't massively impressed with Uncut Gems, but loads of people love it. Bottas has just gone into the pit. Oh, Alonso is in trouble here. Oh, he's going really slow. Alonso radio. That's a shame for Alonso. I think it's a car issue. Well, it is a car issue. I don't want to be a mechanical issue here for Alonso. Don't know what it was about, but Magnussen's regained the place. So that puts the McLarens at the moment are in the top 10, 9 and 10 for the McLarens. Alonso's out. Ricciardo's gone as well. Ricciardo's gone. He might not make it to the pits here. This might be an opportunity for Hamilton to pit. Ricciardo is limping along. Not on the pit lane. Can he make it? He's lost power. He can't accelerate. Ricciardo can't accelerate. Bottas is still in the pit as well. He's not come back. Bottas is out as well. So we've lost 3 cars in a lap. We've lost Bottas, Alfa Romeo, we've lost Alonso, and we've lost Ricciardo as well. They could close the pit lane though, because Ricciardo could be blocking it. Hamilton's got to come in. Magnussen's come in. So Magnussen's pitted. Hamilton's not pitted. And Hulkenberg's pitted because he needs to. Hamilton needs to pit here. Hamilton can't come in because the pit lane is closed. Hamilton's fucked then. Hamilton's fucked because the pit lane's closed. So everybody's pitted apart from Hamilton and he can't get in. God. It's not good for Hamilton. He's the only one who's not pitted who needs to pit with 11 laps to go. All the cars are dying a little bit, says Mac. So we've lost Bottas, Ricciardo and Alonso in 1 lap. Interesting. Here's Hamilton's radio. They told Hamilton to box, but it's too late. He'd gone past. Poor for Alonso. Virtual safety car at the moment. So we've got 10 laps to go here. Telling Lewis to box when he's just gone past the bloody pit lane as well. Thanks everyone who's tuned in, by the way. Please subscribe, bottom right corner, smash a like. The next race is next. Hamilton here. Hamilton's in 6th. And it's all about when they open the pit lane as when he can get in. Hamilton's going to pit, definitely. It's how many positions he's going to lose. And also, let's not forget the race at the top. We're all talking about Hamilton here, but let's not... Leclerc and Verstappen are going to be very, very close together for the last 10 laps. Interesting. Sorry, I've gone all quiet there. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. But we've got a virtual race safety car. The pit lane is closed. The only one who needs to come in is Hamilton. He's in 6th place. He could end up losing. He might end up out the points. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell. He couldn't pit because the pit lane was closed, because the 2 cars that were limping in, Ricciardo and Alonso, were coming in on the pit lane. So you can't drive into the pit lane when this car's sort of being pushed in. They were literally pushing them in. No, I've still not opened it up. So they're just... So they've not bunched the field up here. The safety car is ending. Can Hamilton come into the pits? Track's clear. Go. So we're racing again now. Hamilton radio. So Hamilton's coming in now. It's going to be interesting to see where he comes back in. But he's 9 seconds off Ocon. He's 11 seconds. He'll come in 10th, I think. Hamilton's in. Hamilton's just come out now. He's just pitted now. Ocon's gone past. Yeah, he's down into 10th. It's not great for Hamilton, that. He's down into 12th place behind Magnussen. 9 laps on medium tyres. See Martial in pink boots. Must be a Maguire fan, says David Page. Why mediums, says a lot of people. Why is he not on softs? Don't know. Verstappen's right up the backside of Ferrari now as well. I predicted. I did predict Verstappen for the win. Oh. Hamilton. Just remember that both Red Bulls currently have no points after 0 last race, says Southgate out. So interesting race for the lead. 8 laps to go, but Leclerc has started to pull away from Verstappen again. I wonder if Verstappen will just hold off a little bit. Push on the last 5. He's got to try and stay with him, I suppose. It's going to have DRS though on this lap. Verstappen against Leclerc. So DRS is coming up for Verstappen here. He should whiz past Leclerc. He's gone. And there he goes. Verstappen into the lead. Now DRS is coming back to Leclerc. He goes for it. He goes for it. He goes for it. He goes for it. He's got him. And Verstappen doesn't get it again. It's the second race in a row. Verstappen goes past Leclerc. And then Leclerc goes past Verstappen. This is the same as last week. And we might see it again on the next lap. It's really weird. We've seen it a few times now. You can let them pass knowing you've got DRS to come again for you and just go through. the same thing last week. It's great, but the thing is, do the racers like it? I don't know. Do we, the spectator, like it? Yes, we bloody well do, because you get 2 overtakes in the space of a few seconds. But last week it happened, and it's happened again. Verstappen passed Leclerc, and then very, very, very soon after, Leclerc passed Verstappen. But the same thing's going to happen, and he's going to get DRS again here, Verstappen. This is going to be so interesting now for the next lap step, and Verstappen has got it again. Oh, and they both locked up there. And Verstappen has lost it. And I don't think he's going to get the DRS. It's not going to make a big difference. And he stays ahead. God, interesting. Really interesting. Hamilton's up to 11th, by the way. Oh, he's crossed the line again. It's Bruno Verstappen. He's moaning again. Lock up. Interesting here. There might be a bit of a problem. There is an 8 p.m. show tonight. Exciting things going on here at the moment between Verstappen and Leclerc, just like there was last week. Very exciting. Make sure you subscribe, smash a like. You can join us here for every F1 watch along, as well as lots of football, of course. But that's racing today, and we're getting a great race here. Verstappen's moaning again. Horner. Yeah, they're telling Max to calm down and let us do our work. Russell's in 5th. You've got it on your screen anyway, haven't you? But Leclerc in 1st, Verstappen in 2nd. That's the race at the moment, and it's a cracking race. You can vote for your driver of the day. We'll do that in a minute. Sainz 3rd, Perez 4th, Russell 5th, Ocon 6th, Norris 7th, Gasly 8th, Magnussen 9th, Stroll is in 10th, and obviously Hamilton's trying to get on the podium, get into the top 10 and score points. It's been totally screwed over, Hamilton, by the fact that he had to pit, but he may not make the top 10 today, Hamilton. Zed Jamie says that Leclerc is crossing the line. Stroll fighting off Hamilton here. Still in 11th, Hamilton. He's not on your screen at the moment. It's still Stroll. Russell driver of the day. We've not seen a lot of Russell, Nevin. We've really not seen enough of George Russell because, to be honest, he's been racing his own race. Got into 5th and he's pretty much stayed there. No one's got near him. And he can't get near the ones in front. But this is not over between Verstappen and Leclerc. Verstappen is pushing harder now, and Verstappen's trying to just get into that DRS zone. Only 8.8 seconds between them. Verstappen goes again. Interesting. 5 laps to go, says Mucky. Rihanna wants Verstappen to win. I predicted Verstappen would win this race. I'm not going to say that he is, but Hamilton's in 11th at the moment. Oh no, he's up to 10th now. Hamilton is up to 10th. But it's about the race here. Verstappen's trying to get after Ferrari. Ooh. Now Verstappen's being patient. I think he's going to get it. He's going to get it. He's got DRS. And he's passed him. Verstappen takes the lead. Oh, Leclerc's gone off. Oh, I think he's got him now, Verstappen. 47th lap, and he's passed him. Max leads the race. Norris is in 7th, yes. Ricciardo's out. So Red Bull against Ferrari this season looks like it's going to be very, very interesting. Can Leclerc get back at Verstappen? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Super Max says the chat. He's been patient there and he's got the spot. Norris in 7th, doing well. Lewis getting stiff by his pit crew, says Alfie. And Carr challenged top 3 last season. Now he's fighting for top 10. Well, I think it's difficult today. I think that in relation to Mercedes, Russell has been comfortably 5th best all race. I think Hamilton's been struggling today because he started from 15th, and then the safety car has done him a bit of a problem as well. He's in 10th. He will score a point, but can Leclerc get back at Verstappen is the interesting thing. We're with the... It's an exciting end to a race with 2 laps to go. Fastest lap by Verstappen. As he held himself back. It's a fantastic race, says Gabriel. This is what you want at the start. You want to see these close races at the start and at the end. And Ferrari and Red Bull here. I think Verstappen will hold him off, and I've predicted the win, haven't I? If that happens. Hamilton, so top 10, Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Perez, Russell, Ocon, Norris, Gasly, Magnussen, Hamilton. Both Aston Martins look like they're going to finish, but they're going to finish outside of the points. Here we go. Helmet cam. It's not over yet. Verstappen and Leclerc are pushing each other here for double yellow flag. I know it's track clear. There is a yellow flag. No, it's clear. Green flag, track clear. No, it's a green flag. Lap 49. Now we've got a yellow flag again. It's going to finish under a yellow flag, isn't it? Stroll and Albon combining there, or hitting each other there. Yellow flag, sector 1. That means Verstappen probably wins. Oh no, it's not going to interfere. There's a yellow flag in sector 1, so it should be okay. Max and the yellow flag's a love story for the ages, says some. Leclerc's coming at Verstappen. He can't do it. He just can't go and get him. One more overtaking spot, but he's not going to get it done. No, I think Verstappen's got this now. He ain't going to give it up. Maybe last corner, they're saying. 0.5 seconds between them. One last push. Are we going to get a ridiculous end to this race? I think Verstappen will do it, but you never know. He's right up his arse. Verstappen's on the radio. Verstappen's phoning about the flags again. He's a bit on edge, but I think he'll be alright. 0.5 per second. Verstappen, Bruno Verstappen, he's having a bit of a moan. Can he do it? Can he do it? Can he do it? Yeah, Verstappen's won it. Yeah, Verstappen wins it. Well done. Good race. Good race that was. Bruno Verstappen, he's got it. We don't talk about Bruno. 2 Ferraris on the podium though, 2 and 3. I tell you what, I'm actually very pleased with that because I think that it just shows you how close Red Bull and Ferrari are. Last week I felt Ferrari were better than Red Bull. This week Red Bull have just about done it, but there's not a lot between the two cars, and that's what you want, isn't it? It's very, very, very close on pace between those two. Perez comes in at 4, Russell in 5, Ocon 6, Norris 7. Oh, Ocon could lose a place to Norris here. Oh, half a car. Ocon just keeps 6th, Norris 7th, Gasly 8, Magnussen 9 and Hamilton back in 10. And Hamilton's car did not do a lot. It got 10 and that was it. It lost space on Magnussen. So again, I think there's a problem with Hamilton's car because he was losing time on Magnussen. But what a race at the start. Verstappen radio. He's very happy with the win. Yeah, great race, great race. Great race. Well done to Red Bull. Well done to Max Verstappen. And it just keeps ticking along, doesn't it? Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, Mark. No, absolutely incredible race. And big shout out to Leclerc as well. I want you to vote for who was your racer of the day. I've got 3 contenders for you. 50-50 on the Max versus Hamilton poll. Racer of the day. Get voting. I'm going to put 3. I might put 4 in, but we'll put Max in, Leclerc, and I'm going to put George Russell in. I think he's had a good race, and we'll just chuck Sainz in as well. I think he's had a good race to get on the podium, hasn't he? He's just had a good battle with Perez. But I think Ferrari will be very happy, 2 and 3. Constructors' Championship, they're way ahead, obviously. They've been on the podium 1-2 last week, 2-3 this week. And we look forward to Australia in a couple of weeks' time. And I hope Mercedes can make a bit of traction because George Russell's shown today that never troubled by anybody behind him, but can't close up on the people in front. They're comfortably best to the rest, but they're not close enough to Red Bull and Ferrari. But I think this year's rivalry is going to be very good. Very, very good. I think Leclerc and Verstappen is really interesting. Make sure you subscribe, by the way. The next race is in 2 weeks' time, and it's at Australia. It's in Australia. It's not at Australia. It's in Australia, and it's a 6 a.m. start. So there we go. We will be obviously live on the United Stand in half an hour as well, but Hamilton's been a bit unlucky today. He's gone well to get from 15th to 6th, and then it's just the strategy has gone against them. I mean, one thing I would say on strategy today, because you can talk about strategy after the race, I'm not sure that a one-stop strategy was a clever idea from Mercedes, and we're all geniuses in hindsight, of course we are, but ultimately you expect some crashes, don't you? You do. You expect some crashes, you expect some issues, and I think that that enabled people to do the strategies that they did. I think Hamilton would have finished 6th if we hadn't have had the issues. So 10th is not great for Hamilton. They would have been hoping for 5th and 6th to keep the points ticking over. But for Russell, 5th is a good drive for him. But at the moment, it's very much Red Bull against Ferrari, isn't it? And Australia, Mercedes have got to try and make some impact there. I'm not sure whether they will, but we'll see. Verstappen has won Driver of the Day with 57%, Leclerc with 30%, Russell with 11%, and Sainz has got 2%. But a cracking race. I've got to say, I hope everyone's enjoying it. I've absolutely loved the first 2 races of the season. I thought last week it was great, and I think this week to have Leclerc and Hamilton going at each other like that. I mean, literally half a second between them at the finishing line, and for most of the race, the second between them is pretty much unheard of, really. And that's the modern racing, I suppose. So, yeah, here he is, Max. Yep. Verstappen's all right when he's winning. If he loses, it wouldn't be like this, obviously. But yeah, what I don't want to see happen, and I wanted to say this, what I don't want to see happen is that we hit Australia and subsequent races and either Ferrari or Red Bull start to pull away. I want them to stay close to each other in pace, because that's when you end up with what we've seen there, and pit stops become really interesting because they're not pulling away from each other. That's what you want to see, really. I do think Mercedes will get better, and it would be great if we could have a 3-horse race. But at the moment, the Red Bull and the Ferrari are so close together that it makes for a really interesting battle. And what we're seeing as well is this, where somebody takes over somebody and then someone else takes somebody else over as well. We've seen that for 2 races in a row with Verstappen and Leclerc with the DRS zones. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see more and more of that. But in relation to the championship, Ferrari are looking very good, and Red Bull have just finished the race with 2 cars for the first time. So obviously last week was a bit of a blip as we head to Australia. So it's good to see Ferrari back, says George. 3-horse race would be better, says Diego. And Max getting so lucky, says Emondo. Good to see Ferrari back. We've done that. How could people say Max was lucky? He drove a great race and deserved the win. I predicted he would win today, and I think he did deserve the win. I don't have a problem with that. You know, I don't particularly like Red Bull, but I don't mind Verstappen or Perez, the drivers, and I think he did deserve to win the race today. Leclerc was driver of the day, says Himanshu. Max is in the best car, says John. That's what worries me as well. Is that Red Bull a better car than the Ferrari? I don't want that to be the case, so let's wait and see. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. We've got the 8 o'clock show coming up on the United Stand. I will see you on there. Thank you everybody for watching. We've got Ricky on as well. Thoroughly enjoyed the show. I hope you've enjoyed the graphics. We'll be back again with another Formula 1 watch-along in a couple of weeks for the Australian race. But our next watch-along on here will be Tuesday night, where we're doing England against Ivory Coast and that massive game between Portugal and North Macedonia. And then obviously after the weekend, we've got the Premier League and the Champions League back as well. So lots to get involved on. Thank you very much for watching. I enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.